Give me.
All right. We are. Oh, well, we're going up. I've clicked it.
You clicked it? Oh my God, we're live.
Hold on, it's still blank.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Oh wow, what a morning. I'm gonna sit here and log on. We were trying to get everything done, and for some reason, Annie waits till the last moment to do all this stuff.
Yeah. Me.
Anybody who knows me, that's not true. I just lied. Forgive me, Lord. It's really funny. We get here in the morning, and Andy's like, "So what's the subject today, Doc?" And I'm like, "Well, so anyway."
He basically answers with, stuff, things. Very helpful.
I have one of my other employees. She comes in and she used to work for me a long time ago. She comes in and does colonics, and she might pop in today. And I'm like, well, you need to do an implant with your colonics. She's like, okay, what are you implanting? And I said, green stuff, parasite stuff, probiotic stuff, just stuff. And she's like, okay, Doc. It's kind of funny.
It's not a good feeling. You've done that to me too. Here, use this at the end of your colonic. What is it? Stuff. Just go for it.
Well, I always love this Bible app, Matthew 6:3. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. That's a statement of just, character if you think about what we do. It's really nice to call out people on character and just to compliment people where they're, and that when they're not expecting it, just to recognize people in a way that, that says, hey, you doing that lifted my heart. You doing that had a positive impact. You doing that, and sometimes how often do we actually do that with people? Do we let them know that the things that they're doing, the little subtleties that people try to come up to do, are making a difference and being recognized, because so many people are not getting recognized for just being real. Look at this world, people. I mean, this is crazy what we're living in. So I'm going to go on to my channel, and so I can hook up on the chat here. And Jackie, good morning. Leah, good morning. Diana, good morning. We just have a few people on right now, and again, we're just always looking for how can we increase these numbers? How can we let people know what's going on? How can we get this word out? I think Annie just ran to the other room to jump on Facebook and let people know we're up. If you're out there, that thumbs up definitely helps. If you share, I noticed that, last month, I get these statistics. We had about 40 people share the show. If there's people that you can dump it in on your Facebook, and you have, if you're one of those people who has 1,000 people on Facebook, and say, hey, and you just click and send it out. I don't even know that the links work on Facebook, because I've had people say that they don't. But any aspect of sharing to increase and let people know what we're trying to teach is just it's just a blessing, and I thank you. For those of you, since there's only 10 of you out there, and Diana, Leah, I'm seeing the same names. Otherwise, if there's anybody new out there, always just jump in the chat and let us know. Let us know that you're new. I explain more who I am and why I do this, and just being a naturopathic doctor, pharmacist, and twisting all that together up in his head, and trying to make something that makes sense of natural medicine, more than just, hey, I've got a disease, how do I treat it naturally? That's not at all the truth behind naturopathic medicine. And so we're going to have Annie just pop up all these various things online today, and that she's not even ready for. So I'm kidding, but if you could see her face right now, she has to make noise in order to see her face. You stink. She's sitting there holding her mouth. Nope, I'm not saying anything.
Hmm.
But we were sitting there, and this pre-morning planning comes together, and we have this sit down meeting to discuss what we're going to do today, to organize our thoughts, to have a presentation and a plan of exactly what we're going to talk to, and it just goes in such a lovely, smooth manner. And Annie, would you like to talk about our meeting today?
Our meeting. Oh, it was wonderful. I ran in here, you handed me breakfast, and then we went live.
About it. And so, but the one thing Annie did say is that before we go live, she's like, Doc, I'm in need of one of your energy shots today. So let's say cheers to Annie. We mix these nice little things. I want Annie has to make noise. You see her face when she does this. So Annie, you got to say the cheers here.
Oh my. Yeah, I got to get it back up here. I watched him mix this. Oh my. Cheers, Doc. Thank you. I think. Whoa. What was that? Oh wait, it's not so bad. No, it was real bad there for a second. Ooh, way better though. See, in 10 seconds I'll be like.
It's amazing. So we do these herbal shots, and do not do this at home, or do not drive when you do this. But I mean, today, what did I put in there? A bunch of adaptogens. Today was Siberian ginseng, holy basil, ashwagandha, always kava. Kava is just your chill herb. It's always got to be kava root, What else did I put in there? Schisandra. Put some Schisandra in there for the liver and again for adrenals. Kava kind of numbs your mouth. And just to make it taste like a peppermint schnapps, to kind of take that bite off of it, I do a squirt of peppermint in there. Always enjoyed. Leah, when you are depressed, reaching out and helping others always lifts your spirit. Oh my God, yeah, it does. And that's why I'm back on this show. I can't say enough. Thank you, people. The love, the prayers, the gifts, the food. People, I don't know how many of you kind of shared a little last week, a little harder. It gets easier by the day, but I buried a son just over a week ago. My 19-year-old had a tragic motorcycle accident, and I could sit here and run through my mind 1,000 different things that I could have done to prevent it. I can run through my mind 1,000 scenarios of how it could have stopped. It doesn't matter at this point, but just the love that we've had shared with us. I came in last night to this incredible meal. People put a food train, or we're getting food every 3 days delivered to our house. And it's just been an incredible, it's hard to say a blessing that, if you lose a son, there's no blessings in this, people. There is none at all. There is heartache. I drove by his grave yesterday and I couldn't stay. I'm in and out. I'm like, I'm not sitting here. I'm not getting out of the car. I just looked there and I had to drive away. And I can't explain it, people. And we've had letters from people who have also lost children that are like, listen, this is how I got through it. And, if it wasn't for faith and it wasn't for the people, I don't know how do people who don't have faith get through something like this? I just don't understand. It's just something like, hey, well, once they die, it's over and it's gone and they're gone. So, what do I do? Did they just run through their mind all the scenarios that could have been done for the rest of their life? That would be tormenting. So me being on this show and feeling like I'm possibly having a positive influence for somebody, that's therapy, people. Keeping busy, that's therapy. In the meantime, the aspects of understanding that everything is energy and frequency, and then my son is just in a better place. If he liked to drive fast, well, guess what? He can travel at the speed of light right now. And I know him, he would be, and so I could turn around and just think of all the positive scenarios and know without a doubt that I'll see him again one day. And and it's just, that's the only comfort that you can find in something like this. So no, I have not run my numbers, and no, I don't want to run my numbers right now. But I have, I've had to take care of myself. I have had to do some colonics this week, and I'm trying to stay away from, I love people for, the gifts of wanting to, bring food, but keep the cinnamon rolls and the cookies and the brownies and the cake and oh my God, I don't even, it's just, a lot of it just gets thrown away. My 13-year-old, he's like, oh my God, bring more donuts, Me, I can't touch that stuff. I haven't touched it. But like last night, the food that was served and was better than going to like Moe's or Chipotle. It was a spread, people. And I am just blessed with the people that are around me. And those of you who were there, I just thank you, just thank you so much. People who have mailed cards, people who I've never met who say that they've heard on me, all the way back to Patriot Soapbox to even tuning into my show, and I've received cards at the office and gifts, and oh my God, people, thank you. Just wholeheartedly thank you. So, good morning. Run for rubles. I like that. Message retracted. What a bummer. I hope it was something good. Actually, no, I would have missed it. Nice drizzly morning. Distilled water is key, fam. Yep. I was going to talk about distilled water. Distilled water is amazing. And that is, I have been working on a paper of distilled water and to bring it to you and to talk about things. And one of the things, let me see if I pull it, if it pulls right up on my computer here. But one of the things that I have learned about distilled water is let me see, where is it? I have to go to my open. Give me a second. I'm trying to look around this, and let's see, where's my distilled water for aspect? Darn. I am not there. Okay, hold on. Nope, it's not there. It's under. There we go. And oh, I know why. Because I don't have my computer. I have the other computer, and Annie has my computer. That's why I can't find it, Annie. So anyway, but distilled water. The most fascinating thing about the distilled water. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
The most fascinating thing about the distilled water are the quotes by people like Mayo, who started the Mayo Clinic, and the American Medical Association. American Medical Association is like, the purpose of food is to get your minerals, not water. In the Mayo Clinic, the founders of the Mayo Clinic is that hard water, meaning mineralized water, goes in and clogs up and saturates your lymphatics and is a primary cause of disease. And you look at some of these statements, just the quotes about distilled water that go back, and people saying why they felt that Alexander Graham Bell, he attributed his health to drinking distilled water, steamed distilled water. And then you look at Kerry Reams. He just explained it and the concepts of energy like he did everything else that nobody in the medical establishment wanted to listen, because all they could think about is a cell and not the energetics that make up everything. Because if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, according to probably the smartest man ever walking this planet, Nikola Tesla, you have to think in terms of frequency and vibration. So what did Kerry Reams say? You know the frequency, you know the diet. And why did he only use distilled water? Because it's not carrying a frequency. Well, what about all these mineral waters? Every one of those minerals in there has a frequency. And is that frequency going to be on your frequency when you put it in your body? Hell no. And steamed distilled water helps your body to eliminate those excess electrolytes, inorganic salts and minerals, so that you don't clog up your arteries, so that you don't screw up and thicken up your lymphatics and thicken your blood and agglutinate and carry less oxygen. So steam distilled water actually goes in and electromagnetically adapts to your frequency and is a pure solvent, so that your body can solubilize waste and eliminate it through the kidneys um, and the liver. And so I am working on something that simplifies distilled water and puts it in perspective, because what everybody hears is, hey, it's going to demineralize me, and you need to drink mineral-based waters. The Hunzas, or whoever they are, the people who drink that glacial water, what is it? That's distilled water. It's heated into a steam and vaporized by the heat and core of the earth, and it comes up and found in that, like Fuji water. Fuji's good. It's a low mineral content. It's all colloidal minerals, but it's steam distilled in reality. You're talking waters that are formed in the earth and come up. And so, but the people who drink those waters are those ones who live in those blue zones that live to in their 130s, and that's the only natural source of distilled water other than rainwater. And who's going to drink rainwater with what's in our skies today? Seriously? So I found it odd when I lived out in Oregon that they were saying that it's illegal for you to collect rainwater and use it for your own gardening and plants. Why? Are you going to test it and find what's actually in it? Or are you going to actually promote health to yourself? Oh, either one of those they want to make illegal, right? Let's get off. So anyway, Annie, you got to bring these questions to there so I don't sit here and stare at this. Okay. Because I was sitting here looking. Marcia, thank you.
Yep.
Yep, I couldn't do it, Mary. I can't do it without God.
Do you have your board in there?
Somewhere. Yes.
Okay, we got some numbers.
I have some board. Good morning, Doc, from Chuck. My mom, who's 81, was told she has leukemia. I was hoping that you could talk a little bit about it. If you go back and you look about, there's a book out there by, what was his name? Serban. Clayton Serban or something like that. He's a guy, he was a reporter, and he went down to Reams and he wrote about Carrie Reams. And in his book, he basically did quotes of what Dr. Carrie Reams said. And Reams talked about microbial overgrowth to him. Reams talked about cancers and particularly leukemia. There was not a single case of leukemia that was not cured with RBTI when Reams was practicing. I have a client who came on and did a show with me, but I can't find that show, and I don't know if it was done with Annie or not. Annie, do you remember the lady in Colorado with the blonde hair who did the show with me about her leukemia case?
No, that was before we started. I did watch it though, but it
okay.
Was, yeah, I wasn't.
I know it was with that. It was with 412 and on with Adel. And I was looking for that show for somebody a couple of weeks ago, and I can't find it because back then we just called it God's Healing by the Numbers or Health by the Numbers, and every show had the same title. So now we're trying to turn around and create some type of title that says, oh, now I can find the shows and know what we're doing here. Basically, when you're looking at a leukemia, you're looking at an immune system that's hyperreactive. You could turn around and there are postulates out there about the germ theory, not the germ, but the pleomorphic theory. You can go out and look up pleomorphism and the pleomorphic theory of cancer. You can go look up, Royal Rife talked about microbes imbalanced. George Lavotsky talked about microbial imbalance. Reams and Clavin's book talked about microbial imbalance, but also when you're looking at it, you're talking about a chemistry imbalance that led to a disturbed internal terrain, that something's going on internal that allows these conditions to come out, because your body is as healthy as it can be based upon the environment of what it's dealing with. And so that's what I love about, water. You can go back to distilled water and, what is water? H2O, hydrogen and oxygen. Reams told us that there are only a handful of of um, of molecules, or not molecules, but um, of atoms or minerals that are what he called isotopes. An isotope meaning that it can be either positive or a negatively charged molecule. And so I'm using the wrong term. It's not a molecule. It's an element. Okay. So periodic table of elements. And so hydrogen has one has one positive charge and one negative charge. So depending on the environment, it can shift of whether that positive charge is on the outside or that positive charge is on the inside, and the negative goes outside. So it's an isotope. It can be positive or negative charged. Oxygen's another isotope. So it can be either positive or negative charged. Well, isn't that ironic that 75 to 80% of your body is held together with water, and water is everywhere? And based upon your internal environment, that water can change to be cationic or anionic? Wow. That's telling you that environment dictates. So if you dictate the environment, what's it going to lay the foundations for? You know, are you laying the foundations for low oxygen environments and cancer? Because what causes low oxygen environments? Poor sugar regulation. Low sugars, high sugars. What does the liver need? Pure water, oxygen, calcium, iron, iodine. Okay, so when you start knocking out the things that were shown to be needed, and that iodine, you know, people think, well, I need it for my thyroid. No, if you want to digest your proteins, reams show that you have to have available iodine. Interesting. Eat a nori sheet every day if you want to do it in food.
What about a distiller recommendation? People are asking.
Yeah, we sell a distiller. It's a steam distiller. I mean, the best distilled water that you can buy, or at least suggested to buy, is a John Ellis machine. John Ellis showed he had a patent to change the bond angle of water to 114 degrees to open it up and allow things, and he has all these testimony cures and things. The problem is what water are you running through your John Ellis machine? I got one. If you use tap water, it's crap, people. It'll still come out, and as it goes through that distiller, you're still going to have crap minerals in there. So if you have like an RO system and you run an RO system through a John Ellis, then both your distilled water that comes through and the water that is dripping off as the runoff water can be used and consumed, because it's exposed to that heating element and that ultraviolet light that's in a John Ellis machine. But John Ellis machines are $1,500 to $2,500. So I'm not going to tell you to do that. We do a basic distiller. It's a stainless steel, drops it into a glass carafe, and the final drops go through charcoal just to remove any possible residue. I do suggest that if you're going to distill water, that you use filtered water in it. So and then turn around and distill it. And they're I think $250 or $265 or something like that, and it works very well. You can make a gallon of distilled water in about 5 hours. So
what about food grade peroxide? Thoughts on taking that? Someone's asking. Jackie.
Peroxide, there are benefits when you're looking at peroxide. You're giving oxides or reactive oxygen species. Actually, I'm experimenting with ozone. I've watched and looked at some of the research behind ozone. You're going to activate your oxidative system with ozone. You're going to have free available oxygen. You're going to kill microbes. I'm right now investing in ozone equipment. I'm going to personally, shove it up my butt, people. Ozone insufflation, rectal ozone has been shown to be 95% as effective as giving it IV. So if you want to go to a doctor and pay $350 a treatment to have IV ozone, go for it. Or spend $950 to get your own generator, your own bags, everything that you need, and you can make it, for yourself. And you can buy things to make your own ozonated water. You can make your own ozonated oils, and ozone. Yes, Annie, I'm getting all that equipment. You get to play with it.
Yes.
But as I'm looking at it, because of the need for oxygen, and you go and just look at the research behind ozone and people who have had cancers go in complete remission by flooding their body with oxygen. You start with a low gamma concentration. Gamma is a concentration of ozone in there, and you work up to about between 20 to 40 gamma. Doing it in your rectum, yeah, you're supposed to do it about 5 days a week, and you can do it daily. Whereas doing it IV, it's once, maybe twice a week. But still, you make a little bag, you squirt it up, you're done. And you wash your tubing off and redo it, and takes next to no. And so I'm a clinician, people. I'm gonna do it on myself. See all those herbs behind me? You saw me drinking herbal down. I don't sit there and give something to somebody that I'm not going to sit there and take. I'd like you to go to your leukemia doctor and say, hey, I'll do a bag of chemo for every bag you do.
Oh my.
See what they do. I'm not putting that crap in me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course not. Reams. So I did a show, and you'll have to go back and look at my archive shows where I was with 412 and on. And somewhere there was an interview with a young lady. Her name was Casey. And she turned around and tells her story. Chronic lymphocytic leukemia, and what RBTI did for her. Within a year, she was full remission. Completely went away, even by DNA markers. And then she was perfectly healthy. Then she had a child. After the child, it came back. After she gave birth to the child and nursing and everything, it came back. And then she went right back in to doing her RBTI, like really, really strict. And 2 weeks later, all of her genetic markers, everything, it was completely gone. The doctors did not know what to say. They had never seen anything like it. They're like, well, we still think you should do chemo, but we can't prove to you for any reason to do it because nothing in your blood says you have any type of problem at all. So then it was completely in remission. Then what'd she do? She goes and gets pregnant again, which she was told she'd never be able to get pregnant in the first place because of her condition. So she got pregnant for the second time. Well, guess what happened? The stress of pregnancy, what did it do? It came back. So now I've been walking her through, and she's at 38, 39 weeks right now. Time to give birth.
Oh, wow.
Where she's had to do some medications through this, but in the process she's been monitoring numbers, and she found how that phase 5 of meditation and just getting back to getting her personal stress levels down, and how she's got it back under control enough that where she's still going to be able to do natural childbirth. And then what does she expect after she does childbirth? To get the stresses down off of her body. She has wholehearted belief that she's going to completely this is going to go away. And she's like, okay, I'm not getting pregnant. I'm not having any more kids. I'm good with 2. Because the stress of childbirth is just amazing, and it brought this back. So why does she have a tendency towards it? I don't know. There's a genetic aspect, which we know if you go back and you look at distilled water, and you look at mineralization, and you look at vibrational aspects, that we know that vibrations change representation of DNA. And what changes the vibration? Minerals. What is minerals? You are ash. Read it. It's in the Bible. You go back to ashes. And what is that ash composed of? Well, this one man broke it down to what it is. His name was Kerry Reams. 60% calcium, 24% phosphorus, 12% potassium, 85 trace minerals make up the last 4%. You are a pile of ash. And that ash dictates your ability to generate energy. So what am I doing when you come in and see me? Now look at those numbers. I'm giving you minerals to fix your soil. Today's about individuality. So everybody has a different set of numbers. Everybody has a different life circumstances that led up to the health that you are currently. And every single one of you is as healthy as you possibly can be based upon what your life has given your body to deal with. because that's the principles of biological science. Homeostasis. Your cells and your body knows what to do from a biological standpoint, but from our medical counterpart standpoint, oh no, you can't heal. You have to take these drugs. No such thing as healing or curing. It's illegal to cure somebody unless you take our drugs. Think about it. It's a disease-based model. And so what we're trying to teach is a health-based model. And what better way to teach it? I'm going to get a drink. I'm just sitting here chatting. But what better way to teach it than having a definition of what perfect health is? So how many of you have ever had, well, like here's the numbers. 1.5 sugars, 6.4 over 6.4 pHs, 6.5 conductivity or salts, 0.04 m, 40,000 particles per 100 cc's of urine, 3 over 3 nitrates, nitrate, over ammonia, right? Protein building versus protein breakdown.
We did get a sample of numbers. You want to throw them up there while you have it?
Well, you gave me a sample of numbers?
No, Jackie posted some.
Oh, yeah. I can do that. Oh. So when you're looking here, numbers are always changing. And they change based upon the time of day. They change based upon what you eat. They change upon what you drink. They change upon what you've been exposed to. So we try to have a standard of testing 1.5 to 2 hours after you eat. Why? Because we're trying to measure energy efficiency of what? How well your body can extract energy from food. That should make sense. How efficient is my body with the fuel that I'm giving it? Question, right? Give me a set of numbers. What are they?
0.8, 6.04 over 5.56, 7.07 for your conductivity, and then cell debris 4M++. That's all we have.
And no nitrates.
Yeah, no nitrates. 49-year-old female, weight 147, and she says, can't drink grape juice. Have tried to eliminate all sugar.
Okay. Well, first off, with a saliva pH of 5.56, you need to rinse your mouth out with distilled water, swish and swallow a few times, because you're measuring food right there. If you consistently have a saliva pH of 5.56, your digestive juices are so weak, and your things are moving so fast that you're not extracting your minerals. But your ratio of 0.8, to 7, you're almost a 1-to-9 ratio, right? Tells me that you are getting your minerals. Okay, because people who are not extracting minerals from their diet, that ratio, that 0.8, would be somewhere around, say, a 4.0, 3.2, somewhere 3 to 4. Because if you have a low sugar to salt ratio, then you're not actually getting minerals. You're not pulling them out. And because you have a normal, actually high sugar to salt ratio with that saliva pH, that's false. That's a bad number. That is food in your mouth. That is brushing your teeth before you ran the numbers. That is something that says that you need to rinse and swallow, or you had lipstick on. How many women wear lipstick or chapstick and they come in here and they spit in the meter and they spit lipstick into the meter? And I'm like, okay, you do not have a pH of 5.0 of your saliva. Wipe off the lipstick, sip some distilled water, swish and swallow, and get it out. This 6.04 says, okay, things are still moving a little fast. So I know things are moving too fast. Speed. 0.8, low sugars. So if you're turning around talking about the liver, and if this is true, 5.56, and you have 0.8, well, what does the liver need? Water. Well, you're possibly drinking too much if you're at 0.8, but you're not flushing out your salts. So try pineapple juice. That might be good for you, mixing pineapple juice in your water, because pineapple will flush out the salts. I don't care if you add agave to your water. I don't care if you add coconut sugar to your water. You need to find something that keeps this from diving down and crashing. This is a measurement. This is saying there is no, grape juice is what I typically use when you're showing slightly acidic, because it doesn't push the pH down. When I see people who have alkaline pHs, I find that cranberry juice works really, really well. But, sugar controlled greens, drinking a half a cup of green drink every day, broccoli, spinach, kale, romaine lettuce. There's so many greens that you can green, that you can juice and do a little bit of juice each day to help with the sugar regulation. But you got to get that sugar under control. You got to see if this is a true number, because if this is that, then you go in and have some blood work done, and your liver function tests are not going to be good, because you're going to have liver breakdown occurring. So if you're this true acid over acid, extreme calcium deficiency, vitamin D deficiency, 6.04, you're going to see trace minerals in your liver so stressed. You probably need B6, B12, folic acid, B1, and selenium and zinc. So you can make the superoxide dismutase. So you can make the compounds that help you to detoxify. So you can support your liver in restorative health, with the trace minerals. Although I can't find anything in RBTI where Reams talked about taking selenium and zinc, but I directly see those are two of the primary trace minerals that I'm using regularly. Without knowing these nitrates, I don't know what's going on with potassium levels. So with potassium or magnesium levels, then I know if it's 0.8, with those levels are telling me if your brain, because you're already having difficulty thinking because your sugars are low. So either stop drinking so much water or find something that'll bring this up, and because sugar regulation is where it starts. That's potential energy. So you don't have enough energy to do what you're needing to do, and things are moving too fast, but I know you're extracting something because of this ratio. So are you drinking mineralized water, or where are the minerals coming from? Because you're getting them, because your conductivity is too high. So with the plus, hey, my kidneys are stressed. So that could be ureas. This could be salts. And I don't know that without knowing these two numbers out here. But just looking at this set of numbers, this is where individuality comes in. It's not a cookbook that, hey, you've got this, and so let's go and see what these other practitioners say. I need to do this. I'm like, you need to do whatever and measure it and see if it's working. What makes sense? Need sugar. Okay, you don't need to just go out and eat a brownie or M&Ms. You need to figure what form of sugar will stabilize this. You need a protein at every meal. Acid over acid, you're in DE range. So you're having sugar regulation issues and things are moving too fast. Protein and fat breaks it down. So you can turn around and look at a paleo diet, but this tells me that you're not going to you're going to have too much difficulty digesting those proteins and fats that you need to slow it down. So with that, then you got to turn around and say, okay, do I take digestive enzymes? You can, but that might help you for certain. But I'm going to have you drinking lemon with your meals to stimulate and normalize this pH, to give your body the amino acids, to have that anionic load. Anionic is alkaline. The only anionic food is lemon. Drinking lemon water with your meals, try to get these pHs to go up. Slow it down. Take some vitamin D. Slow it down. There are so many ways that you can turn around and look at this. It's not a cookbook. It's a guide. So, we look at distilled water. If you go read I think it's the book Detox or Die, or one of those books. There's a quote that's in there, but basically they were sitting there. I think it's Alkalize or Die, the book Alkalize or Die, one of them. But they turn around and say that steam distilled water, when it reacts with the hydrochloric acid in the digestive tract, causes a full anionic response, a negative ion response. So in essence, drinking that considered acid distilled water causes a negative ion response. And what do negative ions do? They raise your pH. So distilled water will actually alkalize you. And so you start looking at all this, and you look at the logic of the science behind what Carrie Reams taught us. These are not difficult things, but everything out there tells you to stay away from distilled water, and it tells you to eat sea salt and drive that number up. And if you start looking at the principles, if we have perfect, these things that you start learning, where Reams said it's a fad until it's proven mathematically, is going to turn around and say, wait a minute, what I'm doing is actually pushing me away from ideal. So is that good or is that bad? Perfect is in all of us. God is in and of everything, people. He's what holds the universe together. Eastern philosophies say, hey, if I meditate and get to the right place, I connect with the one. But they don't know who the one is. I love meditation. It's one of the things that's getting me through right now.
Amen.
So
she says thank you. She will run more numbers on her.
Yep.
It's for her sister. You have another. I don't have numbers for you, but my 80-year-old mom has a melanoma spot on her nose, extreme feet pain, lives on her own, drinks distilled water. I'm a new Rbti practitioner. What are your suggestions? She said she doesn't have numbers on her.
Well, numbers are everything you need in order to have a direction. The numbers give us direction. The numbers are what's going to tell us, give us, what do we need to do? So when you're looking at somebody who has a melanoma, you got a skin cancer, number one, if it's operatable, Reams was not against surgery. He actually, in some cases, would just tell doctors, hey, you're going to find a tumor here, this size. One time he told somebody there was a tumor in the brain. They're like, there's nothing, the scans or nothing shows anywhere. He's like, it's a flat tumor. And because it's flat, you cannot see it. And they went into the brain and there it was.
Oh my gosh.
And so, but the other thing Reams would do is say, hey, you have a tumor here. And if you do what I tell you to do, in 34 days, it'll be gone. Wow.
Oh, Jackie said, sorry, I missed this. She said she had half of her large intestine removed in 2008. Those numbers that you just had up.
Oh, okay. So if you look at those numbers, that you're putting that 6.0 and that 5, they're pointing low. So where is your large intestine? That would be more towards the end of the terminal end of the rectum. So if that was women, being 47, I'm assuming that at some point, if you had a history of that, you would have had you wouldn't have had fun menstrual cycles, by looking at that. Yes, that could definitely be pointing to the lower part of your bowel. And because your large intestines were removed, you're not going to be absorbing potassium the way that you're supposed to. You're not going to be absorbing vitamin K the way that and vitamin B12 the way that you're supposed to. Terminal end of the ileum at the beginning. There's certain biotin, I think, is absorbed in the large intestine. So there's certain nutrients that are just not going to be absorbed the way that they should. And so you might need to get like a liquid type of activated B complex, or you might need to do, I'd have to go back and look and see. I got this nice little poster that says where nutrients are absorbed and what would be needed in particular areas based upon what was removed. But yeah, but you're absorbing something because your sugar to salt ratio is high. I just don't believe that saliva pH. If I ever get a saliva pH and you have people who are running, 6.3, 6.6, 6.8, 6.2, and all of a sudden they come in with a 5.8, I'm like, no, here, have some water, wipe off your lips, swish around, swish this and water in your mouth several times, take little sips of it, drink it over 5 minutes. We'll wait another 5 minutes and we'll retest your saliva pH. Boom, comes right back up to where it always has been. There was some type of food residue. I do not believe a saliva pH of 5.5 unless you've had chronic liver issues, because then you're going to see skin disorders. You're going to see all kinds of things that are going on. And we could talk to Annie about skin reactions and cleaning the bowel.
Yes. Oh my gosh, my skin has been atrocious always, but exceptionally bad the last 2 months because of my diet and my stress and all the terrible things. But I came in this week and did a colonic and my skin isn't red. It's incredible. It's amazing. I mean, I have hives and just, I mean, if I go out to like a bonfire and I get mosquito bitten and I scratch myself just once, it'll tear my skin and I have just awfulness come
And
out.
and I triple charge Annie to keep her from coming in and doing colonics on a regular basis.
hmm Yeah, if I just make the time. Now I will. It's like I have to come in and reprove it to myself that that's what I need to do.
We should go
Why
back and
are
watch
vitamins
the early
this
shows.
thick? I don't understand.
So, yeah, Salem Curbin, thank you. Health Guide for Survival. That's a great little book. There are people in the RBTI world that will say negative things about it because but there are quotes in there by Salem specifically about cancer, specifically about microbial imbalances that you won't find anywhere else in a lot of the RBTI community information. And where this is, you had a guy who was a reporter. He went to Reams, and it changed his life. And so the books that he wrote after experiencing Carrie Reams were trying to tell people about health and how to cook and things like that, based upon RBTI. Changed the man. And so, but that is a great little book, Health Guide for Survival. Good morning, Carolyn. Thank you for the card, Carolyn. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Bernie and Mary, how much does the distiller cost? They're about $250. We order them for people, $250 or $265 or something like that. They're nice. They countertop. It's a little bigger than a coffee pot. What we do is filtered water, pour it in there. In the morning, you wake up, you got a gallon of water. Sue Hodge had her message retracted too. You guys must be putting stuff out there that the political people don't. If you're saying something about COVID, if you're saying something about Jeffrey Epstein or Soros or any of those names that pop up,
danger
yeah,
words.
vaccinations, you're going to get it popped off, and they're just going to. So now my show just got bleeped anyway. So let's see. What else do we have? I haven't run our numbers yet. To get started on an HP drip costs $1,000. What's an HP drip?
I think that was referring to something about the ozone talk you were doing. I'm not sure though.
That's ridiculous. Ozone. I mean, a lot of practitioners are charging $300 to $50 to $400 per drip. I'll help you get a machine. I'll help you get hooked up to the protocols and just shove the stuff up your butt, people. You do need to take probiotics, and it's nothing that's any horrible thing. And he's laughing, but ozone. What you're doing is you're causing an oxidative stress to tell your body to make more antioxidants while providing oxidation that'll get absorbed, go through your body, and play a role in normalizing microbes and causing oxidative stress. Low grade stimulates your body to say, hey, I got to react to this stress. So it causes your body to respond more positively. Go look at the research on ozone. It's incredible. drozone.com, I think it is.
Truly, that's helped my skin immensely. I don't have dry skin anymore since I started
Jackie,
using those oils.
your results will be interesting.
These are the oils I'm using if anybody's interested. It's wonderful.
Pure 03. I got the ones from Healthy 03.
I bought theirs because they gave me a sample pack of everything they make.
It's right. Jen, I have to apologize. Every time I hear the word Jen, I just want to go, come here, Jen. My sister had this adorable little dog. I always think about it. That's kind of funny. How do I find an RBTI practitioner near me? You can go to Friends of RBTI, and that's Betty Reams Hernandez's Facebook page. You can Google, if you go to and you Google Friends of RBTI map or something like that. There is a map out there where people who test, they'll appear, and you can contact someone to run your numbers. That is one of the purposes of creating the nonprofit and the health coalition. We're going to work on creating a map and a list of people who are listed as testers versus, just contact Carolyn. Carolyn on here, she tests. Contact Jackie, she tests. So you can but if you got to find, if you go to Friends of RBTI or MAP or something like that on Google, there is a map out there of where people who are listed as testers, what they want to charge you to test, and whether they'll test you without explaining your numbers and charging a consult. I don't know. I had a person who was working with me out of California, and this person wanted to charge them $150 to run their numbers, and they wouldn't just run their numbers without giving you their explanation, of what you needed to do. And I'm like, you're kidding me. They won't just like charge you, between $5 and $30 just to give you the numbers and run them. They're like, nope, they won't do it. And so I don't know who's out there, people. If you're a tester, you could charge people whatever you want to test. Dr. Ream suggested $5. Most people that I know charge people $20. Yeah, come in, I'll run your numbers. $20 for your 8 minutes of time to run their numbers, write them on a piece of paper, and say, hey, go work with somebody that's there. And that's the long-term goal. Right now, if you get on Betty's Friends of RBTI and she accepts you on her thing, you post numbers, you're going to get 1,000 comments from people on what to do with those numbers.
Yeah, I shared the show in there today.
Okay. So one of the things that I want to do is connect these people and create a standard of testing, a standard of practitioners, to where everybody's starting at the basis of saying, hey, let's start with what Betty teaches, how to eat based upon those numbers. That's the key. I got my tomatoes in so late. Yesterday and today, I picked my first red tomatoes, and I shared one with Annie.
That's delightful. So sweet. Oh my.
They're incredible.
Lovely. Hold on. You have a question here. I have Marcia, the lady with her mom's 80. She didn't have her numbers. Same lady. She says she has an ozone machine. How can I help her with ozone? And then you have another ozone-related question. What percentage of food-grade peroxide can be used for ozone?
Well, food-grade peroxide is a standard percentage. You have the peroxide you put in the wounds is like 3%. Food grade, I think it's 30 or 34%. But you only there's protocols out there on how to add drops of water and things like that. And I'm not going to go there. It has nothing to do with RBTI. You can cause oxidation reactions, and there are plenty of books out there that you can go, and free books out there on Dr. Google. And people who provide, hey, here's your miracle cure, do peroxides. I'm going to turn around and say, whenever you introduce these things, run your numbers and see how they're affecting you. So as I turn around and use an ozone generator, then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to run numbers and base off of it. I got a chart in there of a client who's had breast cancer. And her numbers would not change. She's breast cancer. She's diabetic. She's had really, she's all in. Like, what do I need to do? And but then I'm like, okay, let's see, because your numbers aren't changing. The one thing I want you to do is come in every day for a week and jump on the multi-wave oscillator. Okay, jump on this electric machine and sit here for 15 minutes a day. So she drove in, it's 20, 30 minutes or whatever. She drove in here for a week and jumped on. And then the following week, she ran her numbers. Oh my God, they were perfect. She, for the first time in ever running her numbers, they were falling into the healing zone by just running external frequencies. Now, can I claim that a multi-wave oscillator is going to cure you of cancer? No. Although Blavatsky had a 98% cure rate with terminal cancers and a 100% cure rate with arthritic complaints. So if I have anybody coming in here with sore, tired, and achy joints, hey, you can sit on my machine for free because I'm not charging you. Because if I charge you, I'm claiming something. I got a Rife machine right there. I have an electrostatic generator here. I have a Douglas coil right there. Free. But I'm not going to just say, come in and use my machines. I'm going to tell you when you can use your machine based upon these numbers. But so that's where I'm telling you, running these sets of numbers tells us cause and effect, what's happening. So like having an ozone generator, go to, I think it's drozone.com. or Simply O3 or Healthy O3. I think it's simplyo3.com. And these are places that they have protocols for how to use ozone, and where you can buy the equipment, where you can get a pure bag, a bag so you can measure. You have to measure the concentration of ozone you're doing. You can get rectal nozzles that are attached to those bags, and then basically you insert them in your rectum and you roll the ozone out. It takes 5 minutes or less, but they will show you the research of where these, of where the rectal ozone has been shown 95% as effective as IV ozone. And if you go and look at the statements out there of people who go and do these IV ozones, and then the next thing you know, they're claiming that their cancers completely disappear. Why? Because in 1931, it was identified that a basic mechanism of cancer is that it's an anaerobic process, lack of oxygen, and so the cells go into gluconeogenesis. They break down and create their own energy within a lack of oxygen, breaking down glycogen, and these aberrant cells. And Ream says, no, those cells have broken free. They're less than 100% effective. They've broken free from control of your central nervous system, and now they are delta cells. And that's what you need to be getting rid of, delta and omega cells that are dying or dead. And that's what you're measuring with that cell debris. And so it's people, it's all individual. It's not something specific. So I saw someone here mentioning moles. Yeah, skin reactions is a sign of the liver's inability to process something. Your body can't eliminate and handle the load. Comes to your skin. Just ask Annie.
Yeah, I hate
what happened when I made you do those 14 days of colonics in a row, Annie?
Oh, it was wonderful. I never wanted to eat again because I fasted during it, and I was like, wow, I feel like a human being every day that I get up. What is wrong with me? So yeah. It's amazing stuff. I need to get back to that. Maybe you need to force me to do a fast again for the show, and I'll do it. Let's see. You had one more comment here.
I see one. I feel a sugar crash. I feel it, but when I test right after it doesn't show in the bricks. Does it take time? It can. It can take time. But then if you have high sugars, what feels like a sugar crash may be high sugars, again, from lack of oxygen. More foggy brain, more kind of fullness in the head. Whatever the numbers suggest is what I'm going to tell you to do.
Also, let's see, Red Label. What probiotics do you use? He's asking.
I use Claire Labs. It's $75 or $77 for a bottle, but they'll last you for 4 months and at 50 billion a day. It's a wonderful probiotic. So 1 week I said, great response, Betty, and it was retracted. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. So fruit juice doesn't seem to help. I took my previous message off. Part of it was missing, had to redo it. I have an ozone machine. How can I help her with ozone? Go to Dr. Ozone and look at the protocols that are out there. But if you're going to experiment, you got to start with low gamma and titrate up to about 40 gamma. Dosing of doing it rectal, and see a response. If you're going to do it, measure their numbers the day after and see how they handle it. Jin, that's okay. Thank you. Let's see. WaterWise makes a steam distillation process with pre and post. Great product. That's fine. I'll try friend to Facebook, Red Label. Here and good morning, a late notification. What probiotic got that? Janelle, hi. I run numbers, no consultation, for free all the time. Just call and ask them. There are plenty of us who will. Yeah, and just be respectful. Those nitrates, that equipment, costs money. If you order the equipment and order like the best equipment, you're paying about $700. Those nitrate solutions have to be replaced, and they're $20-$30 to be replaced. So if you have somebody running a set of numbers, give them something, people. Just slide them something. Give them the what I've heard it referred to as the missionary handshake. They have a slip of 20 inside there, and hey, how you doing? Thank you. So I think the main thing, I love talking individuality. We're all different. Everyone's gonna have a different set of numbers. Your life dictates what your numbers are. Your life and your numbers will dictate kind of the stressors of what's been going on with you. So you can't turn around and take the individuality of a set of numbers and you could have the same set of numbers with two people that are 20 years apart, and you're going to treat them differently. So the idea behind RBTI is to look at the whole picture and say, okay, what does this person need based upon what we understand? And if it doesn't work, then you got to try something different. You got to think outside the box, because if you keep doing the same thing and just pushing more calcium or doing something and those numbers aren't changing, and you're like, well, I just got to keep doing it longer. No, people, they will change. The numbers are trying to tell you something. And so that's the main thing is trying to dissect and understand what they're trying to tell you. And hopefully I'm giving you some insight to that. I love it when you bring numbers. If Annie would come up with the show titles and what we're talking about, we'd be much more organized every week.
One of these days.
We're working on stuff. I'm working on handouts for distilled water. I'm handouts on lemon. I'm working on handouts for ranges. It's so hard, especially with everything that's been going on, just to keep moving forward. And but that's the plan. We're just going to keep moving forward and make this stuff available as soon as we can, and get that book out there. People, the only way we're changing the world is you. If I equip you and you equip somebody else, we're making change. So, it's not the narcissistic, I'm going to go out there and change the world. All I can do is teach what I know and what I know to be true. And when you see it and experience it, it's wisdom. There is nothing more valuable than wisdom, and it was there at the creation of everything. It's kind of interesting how the Bible and Proverbs discusses that wisdom was there. Wait a minute. We know Christ was there. We know Father, Son, Holy Spirit, because the 3 in 1. But wisdom was there with it. The word is life. It was spoken and created everything. What are your words speaking? So I'm not speaking crap into my life. Hope you don't either. So I am going to say, hey, people, thank you. I appreciate you. I love you all.